Welcome to the podcast.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the ASM Scholarships Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about why do colleges here in the US want international athletes. I'm here sat today with Lloyd from Wales. Is that a good accent?
No, terrible.
No, terrible. Okay, and I won't even bother to do
Portuguese
one.
Go on, we've tried
Wales.
Wales.
All right, Miguel. I'm here with Miguel, and he's from Portugal, and I don't even know how to do that.
Just try it.
I'll just copy it.
Just try
it. Just try it.
Sounds Scottish.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm your host, Chris Vidal. I'm from England. So we're three internationals, and we picked this topic because obviously a lot of the athletes that we help are from overseas. I'd say probably about 85% of them. We do Americans, but a lot of internationals. I think it's because there's a lot of interest there as well, right? This US collegiate system, first of all, is the only place in the world where you can really combine your sport and education at the highest levels. Mm-hmm. I know in England, there's really only like Loughborough and Exeter and Manchester unis that are kind of doing it, but it's not the same.
No, it's not the same at all.
No, like I know Wales is similar to England, so you just got more sheep.
Yeah, that. But no, the standard obviously is what it's guaranteed 4 years of professional environment. You don't get that in university back home at all. My sister went to university in England.
Yeah. Where did she go?
She went to Cardiff, one of the best sports unis in the whole of the UK.
Debatable.
Cardiff Met.
I thought Loughborough's better.
No, their men's soccer program actually in the European qualifiers.
Is it?
Yeah, first ever university to do it.
But then how's that compared? Because obviously you've seen that uni because your sister goes.
So
how's that to like an American?
Yeah,
played at the highest level.
That was a school that uni I'd have gone to.
Yeah.
Didn't like it at all.
No. What's different about it?
I mean, it just wasn't for me. It just seems like it's quite a hard one to touch on actually because it's just a completely different environment. You're on a college campus. You're with about 60 to 8. Depends where you are. The worst case scenario, you've got 60% athletes on them. Everyone's pretty much screwed on with the same thing. Everyone wants the same goal of like reaching the next level. So it's pretty much like everything's to get better. Whereas in Wales, for example, it was more of let's go to practice and let's just go on a night out every day. That was probably a regular thing that happens.
Right.
So I think the culture of it all is just a little bit different.
But then let's talk about Portugal before we get into the coaches side of things, like why they want internationals. Like how's it in Portugal compared to...
The thing in Portugal, there's no such thing as student athlete in universities.
Yeah.
So you have the university, so the school, and then if you want to play any sports, soccer, tennis, golf, whatever, you just gotta go find your own club.
Yeah, you're on your own.
I mean, that's been the majority in the UK as well, right?
Yeah, literally around the world it's pretty much like that. So you can never combine both in the same place like in the States.
Yeah.
So in the States you'll be in the campus, you sleep in the campus, you go to school, we all know, right?
Yeah.
You next corner is the athletic complex, so everything is made easy like for the players. In Portugal it's literally impossible, and school in Portugal is so tough. Even if you try to go to practices, you gotta end up skipping because you just gotta study for the exams, and it's impossible.
We're very good at going off topic. Like I think we basically answered the question why an athlete would want to come. But we're going back to the original question, like why do US college coaches want to bring internationals? I think from the work I've done when I used to live in Switzerland with Olympic committees, what I understood from a kind of top level approach is like internationally our Olympic committees, especially sports like your that are in the Olympics. Most of those Olympic associations pay for high development elite programs, right? So I know in the UK we have the Team GB set up, and then within that they have the UK Sport Development set up, and then you'll get funding from the Olympic Committee if you're in that setup. And they typically then don't like you leaving because they want you to remain in that program, right? But a challenge that costs a lot of money. And the US is willing to spend, high dollars to bring great caliber athletes over. And the reason why they want to do that is because the setup here is different to international. So internationally, if you're a good player, you'll get funding from your Olympic committee, or if you're soccer like yourself, or you get picked up by a club. But in the US, what they do, they don't have Olympic committee set up where they actually then spend the money on extra development. It all goes into the US collegiate system. Mm-hmm. So it saves the Olympic committee lots of money because they can spend that money elsewhere in other development stuff. So what they want to do is, you got to think yourself, if I'm in charge of the US Olympic Association, right, I'm obviously going to make most of our top talent go to Division 1 level universities, but how do I gauge on how good they are on international level, right? So if I can attract international top talent to the university to compete, I can get the best athletes around the world in our setup, and then it allows my US athletes to compete against international athletes, and we can see where we are on a world footing in terms of level. So I know that's from a strategic side. That's something I spoke about a lot in the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, when I was in Switzerland about 5-6 years ago now. But that's one of the reasons. But I think the other big reason as well, it's just great for those universities to have international people at those programs, right? It adds a different type of culture. It's good for networking. It's also, a lot of universities will talk about that they have 20% or 30% international.
And they're proud,
Yeah, they're very proud of it. Like that's the other. I mean, the first reason is more of kind of the strategic play on the Olympic committee, but the universities are more interested in having a diverse culture in their setup there to attract other Americans to their program and other internationals to their program, because it's more expensive.
Yeah.
Like if you're not on a scholarship, if you're not on a soccer scholarship or tennis or golf, you're a regular student, you're paying $30,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. So you have to have a good reason how you can justify those fees. And if you can say that we've got a very well broad kind of class of different internationals and Americans, that becomes socially a better environment for you. Like soccer coach is easier, like for why a soccer coach would want to bring internationals over. The talent's better.
Yeah,
right?
I think the majority of what it's coming to now as well is that obviously it's a cycle that started a long time ago where one person came over to the US and it started to go triple, it's gone bigger and bigger. They've then taken on the coaching roles in the university, so you find there's a lot more international coaches in university programs.
True.
And then because they know the background of the culture coming out of Europe, the rest of the world, they think, okay, I like that, I want to add that to the program because I like what I've got here and I want to add to it. So they tend to go out and look for more rest of the world players because they know the culture. Obviously for me, growing up, soccer was more of a religion kind of thing. It's something that you kind of wake up and do every day. It's what it is. So that's where for me it was always something. Whereas an American growing up might not have been soccer every day at the standard that it was. So
I mean, soccer as well. Like the coaches, the reason why they want to bring you in is they want the best players. They don't really care where you're from. They want the best players for their programs.
Same thing as professional clubs. They don't care if you're from Africa, Europe.
It's getting to the point right now where it's more of like these coaches have all hit the barrier of this culture change, and now it's more of just the competition of who can get the best of the best. So all these coaches have got every D1 college program's got a European in there somewhere. It's just more of what the coach likes. A lot of coaches like to go to Europe. A lot of coaches like to go to the rest of the world.
How many when you were in school? Like on my team, we had a South African, Australian, a Canadian, and I was Brit. So we were a team of 10. 4 of us were internationals.
I even think nowadays it's hard to find a team without an international.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Like, I mean, how many internationals are on your team? Because you're in a tennis.
So I was on the tennis, and we had a roster of 10 athletes. And we only had 1 American.
Really?
One American.
I mean, my first year when I was further up north, there was two Europeans in the team, and we were like God. Like everyone looked up to us because of where we were from, not from the local area.
Right.
But then when I went to my second year, Charleston, so there was a squad of like 60, whatever it is, but it's obviously split up into 2 teams. The Americans seemed to be on the other team, and then the first team. So the year we won the national championship, there was 1 registered American who was actually from Mexico, who came over and had residency in Texas. So he wasn't even American, but he was technically the only American on the team.
But you see that a lot with like soccer and golf and tennis. You don't see it pretty much with American football and basketball. Like those sports and even baseball, they're heavily dominated by the Americans. So. Because I remember on our basketball team, I think there was 1 international guy who was from Poland. The rest are all Americans.
Same thing in my basketball team. They're very good athletes, and we only had 2 or 3 international.
It does depend on the sport. So if you look at American football, like now they're starting to bring in more internationals. Like there's shows of people coming in, but you know, realistically, it's just Americans because that's what they know. Like
It's an American
for us,
It's their number one sport, so
yeah, for us, like football's our number one sport, so that's what we know. So it's kind of the same on a flip.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what is starting to come now, and a lot of coaches seem to look at it as more of a competitive edge, like you mentioned. If
Yeah.
you've got guys coming from a different background, then you're bringing something different to your program.
Yeah, because I know when we do our trainings in the morning, we're always like thinking how we can improve things, and you know we always say think like a coach, right? You know,
Yeah.
and now we've got obviously ex-coaches on our staff as well. That helps a lot to bring that knowledge in. But, as players, we think as players sometimes, not enough as coaches. But when we do our training, we always mention like, okay, like if you're a coach, why would you want this recruit? And that's one thing we always talk about, and we're always looking at like the attributes as stats. I think like we came back to it earlier was they want the best players.
Yeah.
If you're a good player, they're going to want you. They don't care where you're from, as long as you qualify, you have all the stats. And then if you're from an interesting country that brings extra social values, that's another bonus for the team.
Well, I mean, I just got off the phone to a coach just now, D1 program, top D1 program, asking him about certain requirements that he likes of the team.
Yeah.
He asked for a centre back, so I was like, yeah, we've got a lot of centre backs, but he was like, yeah, I like Scandinavian centre backs.
Yeah, you'll get
And I was
coaches
like,
with preferences.
okay.
Yeah.
And then obviously going forward, I like a lot of and then he would say a different place. It's like, why do you like Scandinavian centre back? Oh, because they have a different type of culture there.
Yeah.
And he was an American coach. He wasn't even an international coach.
Right. He definitely had former.
He's had a good experience with another Scandinavian, and then next minute that helps him.
That's the only bad thing sometimes. Like if you have a recruit who came from say a country and they messed it up, then that coach will forever.
Hate him.
We're not hating them, but it's harder. Like it's way harder than.
Also the other way around. Like when I used to play college, so we were 3 Portuguese in the tennis team.
Yeah.
And we won 4 championships, and we were known as the Portuguese team.
Right.
So every coach in that region, when I started working here, they were like, "Please send me Portuguese tennis players."
Yeah. Team Portugal.
Well, I mean, you can look at it in 2 ways. I had an American coach in my first year, and we didn't get along.
Right.
Second year, I had a European coach, and we got on like.
That's why it's so important to get the right coach.
Yeah.
Like my coach was American and he was great. Like I loved the energy he had and the different type of ideas compared to what we had in Europe. But like you had a bad experience of yours, and that's because it's not a good fit, right? Like you gotta. Whenever I talk to parents and athletes, I'm always telling them, look, this is a relationship for 4 years. Like you could love the university, but if that coach is not someone you're going to like, then you're going to hate this experience and want to come back. It's really a big part of it because that coach can make or break your experience in terms of enjoying the process, development, just making it a right fit.
You're really gonna be your dad if you don't like your dad in that situation.
Yeah. Was your coach in the US or?
Yeah, I had 2 coaches and they were all from the US.
Yeah, you had good experience with that?
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, that's good. Not in that way though.
It was a great experience.
Not like Fabian and his coach Nigel.
Yeah, that was the last episode.
Yeah.
That was funny. Yeah, you heard about Fabian's pet goat?
No.
You haven't heard that? You got to listen to the last podcast.
Yeah,
I think it's episode 7.
Yeah.
Proposed to God?
Yeah.
It's funny. He bought a pet goat.
Yeah.
We won't go into too much details, but listen to the last podcast or watch it on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. I think we clarified it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
kind of
relatively simple.
It's a type of topic that it's a unique one.
Yeah, strategically, from an investment point of view, you kind of hit the point of the IOC, Olympic committees, US team. Yeah, that's a strategical play. But from a school play, from a university standpoint alone, it's more about the social benefits. And then, from the sports side, the coaches want the best players.
Yeah, I mean, I like the NFL example.
What's that one?
They didn't bring anyone. No internationals ever really played NFL, and then one came in. They had a good experience with him, and now they're looking to just bring in. If you're going to play football, doesn't matter where you're from in the world, you're going to come and play American football. So that's a good one. Me and Fabs watch a lot of programs like Hard Knocks and stuff on HBO. That's always a good one to watch. Yeah, a good show as well. Like if you're thinking about coming to university here and you kind of want to see how tough it is, I know Last Chance U on Netflix is really good, and that's junior college, man. That's not even Division 1. Yeah. Like Last Chance U is those. What junior college is, if you don't know, it's a 2-year university. You get your associate's degree, and then you typically go there if you're late to the process and recruitment, or you're missing some grades that make you qualify. That's the main reasons. And then you would always have to transfer after your 2 years to get to Division 1 or Division 2. But a lot of these kids on Last Chance, you actually working on the quarterbacks. Yeah.
So it's quarterback
AJ.
AJ, that's right. they need all the help they can get because football's so competitive. There's only limited spots to transfer, so they are really working to get the best Division 1 program because they want to be in a setup where they can turn pro down the road and make the showcase down in the future. So,
but overall, I think international sports is now becoming a regular thing.
Oh, 100%. Actually, I got statistics. Actually, I had that in front of me and I forgot to go over it. Let me tell you now.
I mean, for a lot of people that don't already know, it's just one of them things that you're guaranteed.
You guys pick a country and I'll tell you. So I've got here the statistics for Division 1 and Division 2. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see. I'll show you the screen. It's all here on my computer. It's not very easy to see.
Yeah. But let's go Belgium.
Okay, let's do Belgium. Belgium, there is 134 athletes, all sports, Division 1 and 2, for last year, for 2018.
What about Portugal?
I'll tell you now, Portugal. Boom, boom, boom.
Just you and your brother.
No.
How many do you think it is?
60.
I don't know, but at least we have the best player in the nation.
Okay, but how many? Okay, well, that's good. That means more are going to come. But how many do you think? You say 60.
60.
How many do you say?
173.
66.
Yeah.
Oh,
jeez.
Lloyd was close.
The UK is going to be about more of that, I reckon.
Yeah, how many do you think's in the UK?
160. 170, 174.
You're way off.
Wow, more or less.
UK's one of the highest in Europe. It's 1,776.
Ooh.
To put it into perspective, even though, I tell you, the most outside of America is Canada.
I mean, it's
it's basically next to it. It's 4,166.
What's after that?
Yeah.
I'd say then the next biggest. Have a look here. What's the next biggest?
UK.
Scandinavia. That all them countries have got to be up there, surely.
I'm going to tell you now. Germany's pretty high. Germany's 1,139. In UK still top. After that, I think Spain was South Korea. Spain. South Korea's 20. I was like, wait, South Korea 1,000. Spain's 1,009. Sweden 677 was pretty good.
That's great.
UK's probably the highest outside of probably after Canada. America. How many Americans do you think are in D1, D2 for all sports last year? Because that is actually massive compared to
35,000.
70,000.
180,919.
Yeah, that was a dumb thing to say that line.
There's like 5,300
Yeah.
schools.
But that is actually so beneficial because, like, my first year went into a program. You get an American, mate. I was going to trips to Cali, trips to Florida.
Yeah, you actually get
I was
to know
hanging out with my friends.
Get to know America, yeah.
So that's a good thing of having Americans on your team.
Australia's a lot as well. 931.
The perfect thing is to have a match with internationals and Americans because internationals can give the feedback of other countries, and the Americans here in America, you get to know the culture.
Yeah, it puts it in perspective.
It's literally the best thing ever.
Mexico 375. I'm trying to find any surprises. Nigeria 144.
What?
We have a lot of kids from Nigeria message us. 145.
South Africa is going to boom soon.
Yeah, we're going to blow that number up. So we've got so many kids from Africa we're helping right now. South Africa right now is 252. That's going to be 1,000 by the end of next year.
I've got about 20 that are looking to be placed.
That is definitely going to be 1,000 by next year.
Yeah.
No, this is interesting stuff. I'm surprised the American one is as high as that. I knew it would be high, but it really, if you compare that, they surpass it still. It's really not. Actually, let me take all these numbers and tally it.
But the thing with the Americans is that a lot of them stay in state, cheap education, go walk-on spots.
Yeah, that's true.
Quite
but this is just scholarships. This is not walk-on. This is actually athletes that got scholarships. So even if it was like $1, it counts towards a tally. So if you take America out the equation, it's 19,617 athletes.
A lot of internationals.
Yeah, and let me check if this is not all the athletes. This is just the new freshman athletes.
Yeah,
D1, D2, right?
Yeah, D1, D2 new freshman athletes coming in.
NIA, JUCOs.
Yeah, you got to think NIA, JUCOs.
Yeah, it's big, and then compare that to 10 years ago, mate. It's maybe if not half.
Yeah, and then I have sports. Okay, this is interesting. This is sports individually. So baseball, for example, men's baseball, 17,000 athletes, right? Let's do men's soccer because that's a big one. Yeah, I'm interested about the female soccer as well because I think there'll be a lot of Americans doing that because they're very good.
American females are great soccer.
Let me get
a lot of internationals are starting to come over because they want to be playing at the top level.
Women's soccer, right, for the Americans is 13,503. United Kingdom's 158, Canada's 462. UK comes third in a lot of the tallies.
What about the men's soccer?
On the men's side, let me go to the men's soccer. America, wow, 6,877 for men's in American soccer from the US. And then it's UK at 642, Germany at 288, Canada 226, Brazil 187. That's obvious because they're good.
So more internationals than Americans, you think?
It is. America still has the most, but that's understandable because they're going to recruit a lot of local talent to build their game up. But then it's your top countries you expect, right? United Kingdom, Germany, Canada, Brazil, Spain, France, Sweden, Norway.
No Portugal, no culture there, mate. Sorry.
It's a new thing in Portugal to come to the States.
And then golf. We're gonna change this a lot because we got a lot of golfers right now. So like US has 3,700, then it's Canada at 211, then United Kingdom 160. Sweden 61, Spain 48, Mexico 44, Australia 38. South Africa is going to be in that top 5 literally next year for men's golf, so that will change. This is an interesting one. Fencing is in the US 164. I thought it'd be more than that, but then American football, right? Like we spoke about, 38,000.
And in internationals, maybe.
There is actually Canada.
Coming out of UK. Maybe.
Canada 158, Australia 43, American Samoa 18, Nigeria 18, Germany 15, UK 12, and you even got some people from Bahamas at 9.
I mean, you got to think that's some big numbers compared to the sport in them countries. Not even a thing, really, is it?
Yeah.
Like, think how many football programs in the UK, American football, little to none.
This is interesting stats. I'm glad we went through that. And there's obviously a lot more. So if you're interested to learn more about your country and your sport, we'll happily put in the comments. Just type in what country you're from, what sport you are. We'll write in the stats for you so you can actually find out. Because there's so many. There's Qatar here. There's Latvia, Jersey, Jamaica. There's Cambodia, Bermuda. There's all sorts of countries in this list. It's really good. So if you're interested to know and find out what sport you play and where you're from, we can give you the stats on that as well.
Awesome.
So which is definitely good. There's a big demand for international athletes because you have the talent, you bring a lot of social benefits to the universities, and you guys will have a fantastic time here as well. So we hope you enjoyed this podcast. Definitely a different subject. We want to touch on it because we do help a lot of internationals come here. And if you did enjoy it, please share it with a friend. Share the knowledge, as we like to say.
Yeah.
We don't charge this podcast; it is free. So our fee is just you tell someone about it. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we'll be back again soon. Unless you want any final remarks, guys, or
just get some comments in below. Let us know what you want us to talk about. If there's something an issue or a topic that's stuck in your mind you can't get out, let us know, and we'll be happy to cover it.
We're here to help you.
Definitely, yeah.
Sweet. Thanks,
Awesome.
guys. See you
Bye,
next
guys.
time.
Yeah.
See you guys. Thank you.